icon down there, so your face will show up.
Where? Oh, down here.
Yeah.
This one. Is that it?
Click your image. Yeah, there you
All right.
go. Live.
Okay. Hodl, hodl, hodl. Save, save, save. Build a, build a, build a. Sound money. This is Ugly Old Goat, guys. And it's 4:44 in here in Ensenada, Mexico. I'm usually up. I've been up a couple hours. We were going to do this at 4, but somehow I was thinking about something else. I get sidetracked so easily. But I wanted to go through and do a walkthrough of this Bitmex suit because I do feel like I'm qualified to do it. Part of my history is I was a jailhouse lawyer, and so I got basically my law degree. My father always wanted me a lawyer, wanted me to go to law school and be a lawyer, and I finally did.
In jail.
In jail, and so I learned how to file complaints, particularly against staff, and I handle a lot of prisoner cases, and did pretty decent at it. And I actually would start little Department of Justice conspiracies because I found that there's a little thing called a Title 42, 1985. 2 before the semicolon, which is conspiracy to interfere with justice in federal court. And a lot of case laws from prisoners, because what happens is if you file against the staff, the first thing they do is come after you. And even though you may not have stated a case in your original claim, once they come after you, now they've obstructed justice because they're retaliating against you for filing a complaint, for going to court, for access to the court. So anybody that is stopping you from getting to the courthouse, even if you're a prisoner, can be part of a conspiracy. So if they go through, and I did a lot of legal work, I thought for prisoners and staff, and of course I'd have it in my big file I'd carry around, in prison, and they'd stop me and they'd search and seize the stuff, all my research.
Huh? I from Ireland. Wow.
Okay. So at any rate, so that's what I would do, and they can search for shanks and guns and grenades, but they can't read my legal stuff. That's because it might be against them, and of course it was against them, and so needless to say. I would get rock and rolled all the time. It's just amazing how quickly otherwise stand-up prisoners would completely break down because once all they want to do is get through their time peacefully, and once their world gets disrupted, they can't handle it. They're otherwise really tough guys, really good guys, but they've got this routine, and if you upset that routine, they really can't handle it. So it was kind of amusing. So, at any rate, I am somewhat qualified. I'm actually educated in my own business. I had to learn the TCPA law, and I kind of became an expert in actually trained because I have a big complaint against lawyers. I don't. I consider them in the same category as slave owners. If I lived, I've written an article about that somewhere. I think it's the one on the 3 greatest swindles of all time. But basically, if I lived in the time of our founding fathers, I'm sure I would have had friends and acquaintances that had slaves. Hopefully, I would not have any. I think that my character is such, and at least if I had my current beliefs, I wouldn't support it. It's just like I have friends that support abortion. I don't, but it doesn't. I'm not going to go out and. That's where we fight political battles. But we have a real problem with our courts because in our Constitution we do have a little clause in there that there shall be no titles of nobility. And in order to cross that bar, if I cross the bar and try and represent somebody, I'm going to jail immediately because I'm in contempt of court. And the lawyers are basically, they're under the same rules. So don't be fooled. A lawyer is not there to protect your constitutional rights. Now, it's the duty of judges to protect constitutional rights, but it's not the duty of an attorney to. In fact, his first obligation is not to the Constitution. It is to the court. Oh yeah, they're officers of the court. So their first is not to you. You know, it's not to the Constitution. It's to the court. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Oh no. They're officers of the court, and therefore, and that's fine. I don't have a problem if you want to be an officer of the court, but if you decide to go that route and you want to get, a member of the bar, you want that title at ESQ and be a title of nobility, then you shouldn't be able to hold public office. You shouldn't be able to write legislation. It's just like I'm a felon and I can't have a gun, So, you can be a lawyer, but join your association, but you can't be in Congress. You can't write, because the game is now they write the laws, and they're the only ones that can figure it out because they speak in a language nobody else can understand. And judges, everybody's an attorney, and it's a private club of the worst kind. And I think it'd be great. I think I'd love to see a California proposition to basically strip. You can be a lawyer, but if you're a lawyer, you can't run public office. Oh, these guys have just screamed to high heaven, because all these laws are passed to benefit lawyers, all the litigation stuff. I mean, that's how they make money. And, it's a closed system. It's a very, very corrupt system from the top down. And it's intrinsically, because of its own structure. Now, again, guys, my attorney friends, I love you. You guys, I mean, I've taught you guys some things. You've taught me a lot, and some of you are really good. So, a lot of them are really bad. We're going to be going through this case really bad. I mean, this guy, he's not even up to jailhouse lawyer standards. So this civil complaint, the civil RIco complaint. So we're going to go through it, have some fun. And I think I might go through the markets first. I guess we're having a little action there today. So let me go through. I am opening this up to the public. It's not a members only, because I think a lot of people might be interested in it. And I'm just going to do a read through of the case, but let's go look at the market briefly before we get going. And let's see what I'm still learning the stuff. Screen share here.
There it is.
Okay. Okay, let me go and I do.
Where the Chrome image,
this one?
No, the one next to it.
This one?
There you go. And share.
Share.
Now you can share whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Now I can go up here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so let's go to Bitmex. Show the account. Ding. Okay.
Actually, Patrick, we wake up early. It's Juan who doesn't wake up early.
Yeah.
Look, because Bitcoin says, motorist says, wow, up early.
Yeah, no, I'm up every day here. I mean, Juan gets up. He's on a completely different time set. We're lucky if he gets up by 9 or 10. So
or 7.
Seven's I never. But okay, guys, looks like I'm hitting new equity highs. It looks like I did a little bit of trading here. Looks like I trimmed a little bit. I don't know what fills. Let's go, fills. Okay. So if you notice here, I sold some December at 119.10. I'm sorry, the spot, the perp, 119.10, and immediately I put an order to buy the December 100 points lower, or more than 100 points lower than the basis at 11.812. Where are we at now? Yeah. Okay, so great trade. I just was able to sell up here on this rally and buy on this dip. We'll see what happens. It's just a little bit of trimming that I did and reestablished my position, got out of some of my 10,000 my perp. But we're going to look a little bit too at the equity apps. So you can see how we've been doing. Again, I started trading, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago with 0.6, and we'll run it up now to it's over 5. So we're, I don't know, about 8x or more. And you can kind of see how the equity's been going. This is on a 4 hour or 1 hour. It looks like it actually hit a 9. If you guys don't know what you're looking at, this is the equity app. It's something it's kind of proprietary, and basically what we've done is I teach trading equity. I don't trade the charts, trade your equity. And I think that's a mistake most people make. I think that most people have all their priorities backwards. I emphasize money management. Without money management, fundamentals and TA, they're not even worthless. They'll hurt you. And that's why most people lose. So you have to get the money management in your DNA. And this simply helps, because what we're doing is, this isn't a chart of any market. This is a chart of my trading equity on Bitmex. And because what we want, and I started publicly publishing my trades in February of 2019 with 2 Bitcoin. And right now with 29 and 30, 61, I've turned it into 66 Bitcoin as of what we're talking right now. So, it's consistency that you want. It's want to avoid those large downturns. And that's what I teach. But I'm not here to sell our newsletter or anything like that. If you want it, it's available on the website. We have members. If you use one of their referral codes, you can actually get a 15% discount. We no longer have the charter lifetime subscriptions. It's a 1-year subscription. You do get the equity app free with that. It's not cheap. I charge 1/10 of a Bitcoin. With the discount, it's 0.085. You do get the equity app, which is about a $350 value with that. And then the renewal is 0.02 per year. So right now, about $200 per year. Once you sign, because what you get with it is, I get a Telegram group. I used to write newsletters all the time, but with this Telegram group, I'm really using that more than anything. And people like it, and I like it. I didn't think I would, but I do. And but 99% of my stuff's free anyway. You don't need to subscribe. I don't recommend you do, unless you have a hodl of a couple Bitcoin or more. And then I think I can help you from there. But if you're still accumulating Bitcoin, you don't need my newsletter. You don't need any help on trading. You just need to keep saving and build up that hodl. And that's why we hodl. What I teach is hodl, hodl, hodl. And as you hodl, you will learn that over time that you start building wealth. And so you want to reward yourself, and occasionally sell some and reward yourself, and buy a new laptop, or take your wife out to dinner, or like my wife, someone's wanting something new. She's building a new house now. So you can, that's how you do it. And then the last thing you do is you build it. Now you can build, my builder is, I started like the U.O.G website, but I had another business, and I still do besides that. So if you're not an entrepreneur, but you're working for somebody, just be the very best at what you can do, and, work towards that goal. The best thing you can have in life for taxes and for income is your own business. So you need to work towards that goal, become the very best at what you do. And it doesn't have to be anything Bitcoin related. If you're a carpenter, just be the best carpenter you can be. If you're a programmer, be anything Bitcoin related, be the best you can be there. Or if you have a car wash, be the best car wash in town. And then you start putting yourself and start thinking in sound money, which is Bitcoin. So I'm done. If anybody has any questions about the markets, I guess I can do that now. Let's get out of here. Boom. There it is. Oh, it looks like we've got a little minor, I don't know, it could be a major top. We're going to find out. We certainly had a nice rally up and a nice break. And now we're doing one of these things where we just kind of breeze on down. I think one of the things that I'm looking at right now, wow, look at this. It went down some more. I think I just bought some more on my short back. I did. Look at that. I just bought some more. Look at how this is working on Ethereum. Ethereum is down 2% and Bitcoin is up 2%. Guys, this is what's needed. This is a very big wake-up call. I do think that this is probably just started. The question is, will it eventually affect Bitcoin? It could, but Bitcoin, if the alts collapse, we could break the Bitcoin market here too. We just don't know. Everything is very edgy right now, that's for sure. So, but I just noticed I've been short this thing here, this Ethereum, and I just bought some at 119.10 and one. No, that's not that. I'm sorry. No, I just bought it at 31.95. I thought I had another order down here. Where do I have another buy order? Oh, I have it down here at way down there. It's got to go a long way down more. I got an order to buy some at 30.91. But this thing has really worked. Let's see, fills. Yeah, 31.90. Wait a minute. Yeah, 31.95 is where I bought it. I'm a little confused. At any rate, that's working. The Ethereum's losing. I mean, I kind of just not trading the dollar Ethereum. If I'm going to go short Ethereum, I want to be short relative to Bitcoin, and so that's what I've been doing. Wow, I was short in the dollar Ethereum. I covered that way too early, but at any rate, I think it's significant what's going on. And again, you want to be long Bitcoin. You want to be holding Bitcoin. We got that's Ethereum, and Bitcoin has done this. So we'll see if this trend of strong Bitcoin and weak shitcoins continues. Bitcoin dominance. I can pull up that chart. Hang on, let's go. Trading view. Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance. Okay, let's do this. All right. And you'll see this thing should be really breaking out now. Boom, there you go. This is that the daily? Yeah, we're daily. We got a breakout now, but we're also on an 8, and that's the daily. On the weekly, things just still getting underway. On the monthly, the thing just is getting underway. So we got a long way to go, guys. It's on Bitcoin dominance, and we do have to break these alt markets, and the market's going to have to demonstrate the difference between shit and Shinola, the difference between sound money and shit coins. And unfortunately, it's going to hurt a lot of guys that have had very wrong thinking for very, very many years. And so that's going to be a very sad correction, but you know what? Hopefully they learn and we'll get on the right side of sound money, and we can start building and creating the things that need to be done. But let's go into this complaint. Okay, so this is the complaint that was filed. Now, I want to first go into this guy, the law firm, which is Pavel Pagodin. Big guy, PhD and an Esquire. And he seems to be a vexatious litigant anyway. He's filed a bunch of class actions, which are very difficult to get certified unless you know what you're doing. RIco is also another one that's very difficult and to state a claim for which relief can be granted. One of the things in a complaint, one of the first things you argue is jurisdiction. He has a complaint and goes in an introduction, but there's no jurisdiction at all of why he can even bring this thing. So, and then the nonsense that goes on here is just incredible. And I want to go through this because this is not only, I think, vexatious and frivolous, But it also is what isn't vexation and what isn't frivolous is the CFTC civil action that was brought against Bitmex. And of course, I think all of us expected that one day because the CFTC is basically ruled by the regulated exchanges. There are very powerful groups, the Chicago Merc, the Chicago Board of Trade, the New York Comex, and they have these new conglomerates. I'm old school. I haven't been, I don't know, I'm not up to snuff on all the latest arrangements, but basically the CFTC is like any regulatory agency. It is dominated and ruled by the trade. They have their own lobby groups and they have their own people in there. And Bitmex has just knocked the socks off of the exchanges, and he did it from the ground up and something they didn't want to touch. And now they're having a hard time getting into the market because he pretty well has dominated it. And he's introduced a lot of really new features that the traditional regulated exchanges just don't, because they can't, because they're regulated. They can't think outside the box. And but boy, oh boy, you start competing with them, they're going to come down on you. Then the other thing that was happened, of course, is the Department of Justice. This is the one that really surprised me, and I call it it's at the very least the shot across the bow, if not an opening salvo of Bitcoin wars, because the criminal complaint and the indictment was not, I don't think, from the CFTC, from the competitors. I think it's actually from the banking industry and the central bankers. And so we could not have a better player who's, the way I look at it, is Arthur Hayes and Bitmex are really the point of the tip of the spear in this battle. We really do need to get behind him as much as we can. It's a lot of people have very they don't like Bitmex. I think primarily because they're successful, and also because most people lose in trading. They don't understand how markets work. They've gotten blown out, and rather than accept responsibility for their own actions, they want to blame it on the exchange. And that's had all kinds of repercussions. So we're going to go through this thing kind of one step at a time. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I don't need this so big. See if I can make it. So there we go. I think it's much better. All right. Yeah. All of this is kind of just bull down here. Okay.
I don't think you're sharing.
I'm not sharing it.
No, stop share and then reshare again.
How do I do that? Stop share up here?
The red little icon, you see it?
Nope.
At the top, ugly.
Oh, stop share?
There you go.
Okay.
And then go to share again.
Share screen.
And then look for the document you want to share. And then you can share.
Ah, there we go. Share. All right, there we are. Okay, so let's go to the nature of the action. Conspiracy to conducting enterprise affairs through a pattern of racketeering arising under the Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization. Now, this is a statute that was written, I don't know, back, I don't know when it was, 80s, 70s, 80s, I'm not sure. Anyway, Rudy Giuliani used it for, locking up the mob. Who was that? Tip on Don or whatever. Anyway, the New York mob up there. There's actually two parts of it, and you can. There's the criminal side, which of course can only be instigated by the government, and then there's also a civil action. So this is something that a private party, if you can, state a claim for which relief can be granted, you can bring a civil action. It's kind of like a wrongful death action, and if you're charged with murder, that's criminal. But I think it was O.J. Simpson. He was found not guilty of the murder charge, but then when the civil suit was brought against him for wrongful death, he lost that and was held liable. And that's sort of what this is. And but this is kind of just almost a nonsensical thing, but there's a lot of stuff that's revealed here. So I wanted to outline that. And basically, I'm reading this and I kind of applaud. It's kind of almost a defense for Bitmex. It shows that they really haven't, they've done everything they can to avoid U.S. jurisdiction. In my own case, I've had accounts shut down. I opened an account in my wife's name, and that was the one that I started in February, and it was for my wife because I can't trade. I'm a U.S. citizen. I figured out, hey, I had my account shut down. I can't trade. I'm a Mexican resident, still can't trade, U.S. citizen. But my wife is a Mexican citizen and we reside in Mexico, so she can trade. But they also have a stipulation, even if you're a Mexican citizen, if you can't, and you're in the United States, they don't want your business, okay? And what happened was she had an account and we were at the first unconfiscatable conference in 2019. And on our way back, she logged into her account on a Mexican phone. Maybe it was from a U.S. phone. I'm not sure. Anyway, she logged in and had a U.S. IP address, and they locked the account. And so we went. She sent all the papers. Look, I'm Mexican. We logged in from the U.S. It didn't make any difference. They shut down the account. Now, they don't take anybody's funds. They send you back everything that you had. I also had on that account, had a substantial referral. She had a substantial referral. And that was gone. I mean, basically, well, not a lot, but she made a half of Bitcoin or maybe a 3/4 of Bitcoin just because of our referral link. And that was gone. And so we had to open a new account. This time she sent in all the papers here, because of the problems we had. Here's who I am. I live in Mexico. And then we just had a recent thing that happened. I don't know, this was a couple of months ago or less. And she logged in from her US phone in Mexico and it flagged because it was apparently the US phone has a US IP address. So we had already basically KYC'd, or she had, and so they restored the account. And because we hadn't been in the United States, she logged in from a U.S. phone in Mexico. And so the point is, guys, is that Bitmex has done their best. If they find out that you're a U.S. citizen, they shut down your account. I've had it done to me. And so it's not their job. Their job is they don't want to come under U.S. regulations. They don't want this iron hand to come grab them. The easiest way for them is just, not to accept clients from the United States. And so now you got a real problem. Who are these guys? Who is the plaintiff in this? And the plaintiff in this, first of all, the attorney is from Puerto Rico, and this company, it looks like some kind of a shell company, BMA LLC. They're in U.S. jurisdiction. Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. So in order in order for them to open a Bitmex account, they had to deceive Bitmex. They had to say, somehow they had to cover up that they were in Puerto Rico, because if they'd have been honest and truthful and not use some kind of a deception, then, Bitmex would not have opened the account. So now Bitmex is getting sued for unfair business practices and for RIco because they didn't catch. I opened an account and they let me open it. It's your fault. Now I'm suing you. It doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't. And so I want to kind of wake up call for everybody, because a lot of names are listed in this. A lot of people that I have the highest regard for, have integrity. They have nothing to do with the suit. This is just a smear campaign. You have the coffee? I need it. Can I get some coffee? And so we're going to go down, and I mean, this is interesting reading. It's 82 pages, and it's just, but I used to read case law and read complaints, and I used to call them like comic books. And all they're doing is trashing Bitmex for one thing after another. And let's do. Let me go here. Am I still screen sharing? I guess I am.
Yes, you are.
Let me do this.
No, you got to stop that share and then.
No, I would need to look at something myself. So
Okay.
where is? Oh, this is. Yes. Okay. All right. So I think it's just a frivolous hit piece. I think that a lot of the evidence that they're going to present, what I call evidence here, it's not damning at all. It's actually exculpatory, and they're just some silly arguments. I mean, basically, they are later on they're going to argue that if you do business with a U.S. supplier, a foreign company does business with a U.S. supplier, that's the same as them being up on their platform. Well, it's not. I'm in Mexico. I do business all over the world. But because Bitmex hires services, software services, or hosting services or something like that, and they're in the United States, that does not, they're not trading, they're not trading a commodity with them. They're doing other business, which, that's just what trade is about. So let me go back. So I want to go through here because there's names that are mentioned. One of them, of course, is right at the top of the list. Is my buddy Tone Bays, and if you want to read kind of my story, you can go to one. I think it was called "The Three Greatest Swindles of All Time," and I kind of outlined what happened when my wife's account got closed down, and when she opened her account, she used his referral code. So he was getting a nice referral from us, which was great because we want, Tone's helped me a lot. He's taught me a lot of fundamentals. And, I wanted to get that referrals. And I knew he had a nice, because he's like I am. He doesn't charge. He puts out a lot of content, and he really doesn't get compensated for it much. He puts on a couple of conferences. He has his classes. But all the stuff that he does, the only way he gets compensated is if he uses referral codes. And so I was more than happy to use my referral code. I would get a discount and he would get a small referral code. But, I was doing such numbers. I think I was with him too back there before I got in 2017. I think the account was in my name, and they closed me down. Once they found out I was a U.S. citizen. And then after that, on February 4th, 2018, my wife opened an account. But basically, I got shut down, and he lost a huge revenue stream from that. And he could tell us, yeah, I know when you're trading because I see it on my referrals. But, basically, Arthur Hayes apparently is a U.S. citizen. And they're arguing, well, he's a U.S. citizen and he's trading on the exchange. Well, that might be the only thing that they have going for them, but it doesn't mean that they have any jurisdiction, right? Because that they haven't shown anywhere where it really affects them. And I'm not sure that that's the case. I mean, it could be trading through a different equity that's not Arthur Hayes. I mean, that's most likely what's happened, I would imagine. But here are some of the services that they use. I take my hat off every time I see Arthur. Arthur, you're one of my heroes. I really think you're the right point man for us right now. You got my 100% support. I know not everybody's, a lot of people are strangely silent about what's going on here. And that's sad because we have to have balls. We have to stand up to these guys. The problem is not with Arthur Hayes. The problem is with the laws of the United States. If you're angry at Arthur because you can't trade on his exchange, don't be mad at him. Go write your congressman, change the silly law. It's not, or move out of the United States. That's what you have to do. So here are all these companies that they do business with, and they're trying to say that gives nexus. Well, that does not give nexus. So Amazon, SendGrid, Google, and that does not create a nexus for this complaint whatsoever. So we'll go down here, and they also have some patent or not trademarks that are registered in the United States. Well, that does not give them a nexus. That's fine. You can be a foreign company and you can get trademarks in the United States. Now, here are traders that they have, and they're, okay, and they say these are all residents, okay, but how long were they, once they found out? Okay, these are professional network. LinkedIn provides public, so these people basically have confessed on their own that they are U.S. citizens. But once again, is it Bitmex's job to go through and to check LinkedIn to see if you're a U.S. citizen? These guys, in order to open the account, they had to at least deceive, and if not fraudulently indicate they were not a U.S. citizen, and knowingly do so. So, if anybody broke the law, it's the U.S. citizens that are unhappy with their own laws. So here we go. Here's other people that are doing all these different people. Of course, why would people use Bitmex? Because it's the most efficient and best market out there. Amazing. Now, here's all kinds of people that are doing. There's Jacob Canfield. I'm pretty sure I know him. I have high respect for them. A lot of these people I don't know, but a lot of these people, they're actually are teaching. And when I was on, people ask me all the time, well, how can I trade on Bitmex? And I refuse to tell them, look, if I tell you to go and this is how you rob a bank and you go rob it, I'm part of your crime. I'm not going to tell you that, well, it looks like you can do it. A lot of people are using a VPN and then they get in, and these people are actually making videos. This is how you can, beat the system. And Bitmex doesn't know that, you're lying to them. You deceive them thinking that you're from somewhere else and they'll let you in. But I guarantee you, once they find out that you're not who you say you are, that you're not, that you're in the US, they shut down your account. I've had several of them shut down. And I wanted to go through because I'm trying to, where's Tone? Tone is right there at the top of one of these. I think I must have already gotten through that because that's a classic. He was very upset, and rightfully so, because he did one trade publicly, but he'd also publicly announced that it was a U.S. citizen. And of course, once he did that, and he's well known in the industry, and Bitmex found out, they closed his account. But the worst part was he lost all of his referrals. And at the time, I know he thought, well, this isn't right. But they had no choice. This is exactly why they had to. The problem is, Tone knew that he was a U.S. citizen and he had an account. So once they knew he was a U.S. citizen, they had no choice to break all relationships with him. And that's what they did. Let me see if I can find that out. Let's see. This is our Hayes. I thought it was at the top. Okay. And so, and he's right at the top of one of these lists. And along with, I'm surprised I'm not in it because I have talked about Bitmex, but I've also said I don't trade there. I also never recommended it to anybody trade there. I never told people to use a VPN or how to use a VPN because, again, I knew it was against the law. If I had told a U.S. citizen, well, this is how you do it, then I'm part of your basically criminal enterprise. Now, the law is only as good as enforcement, and the enforcement They're not enforcing it against U.S. citizens. So, but Bitmex is the target then, because they're the ones that are hated. They're the ones that people, because they don't manage their funds correctly, they've lost a lot of money. And so, again, I'm going through here. I can't find this thing. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here we are. Let's read this part because this is what I'm most familiar with. And they use Tony as an example because he's number one. It was kind of a big deal. He never traded because you can't trade and be the kind of analyst he is, put out the information he does. He one time made a trade and he sold the very bottom of the market and it went way up, but he wasn't worried about it. He said, now this trade's going to work out. And it wound up, it did. And as it started to work, boom, they closed the account. They closed the account because, oh, you're a U.S. citizen. We didn't know that. And it was a tough day. I mean, he called me and we had to talk about it. And I said, Tony, they can't do anything else. I mean, I was in the business. I was a registered Series 7 securities dealer and commodities broker, and you can't have a nexus. You can't have that kind of a nexus. Once they found out, they not only have to close your account, now you got everything you had coming. He got all of his referrals that they take he had been paid, but they closed the account. They stopped the referrals. Said, we screwed up. We know you're a U.S. citizen. You're done. You're going to have to change the law if you want to trade with us, or you're going to have to move out. And so that's what that's what happened. So it's unfortunate because U.S. citizens are not allowed. It's the land of the free and the home of the brave, and you're not allowed to trade on the best exchange out there. Guys, the problem is not Bitmex. The problem is your own government, and that's what you need to deal with. So, then I wanted to go through, there was another part in here and I thought it was very, very unfair where they picked up on adaptive capital. And that was a hedge fund. They got blown out of the market. And, but let's see where that section is. I can't find it, but it was my good friend. I have a high respect for Murad. I can't pronounce his last name, Meredith, but really a young guy. He's the one that wrote this curve that shows, the Bitcoin adoption, and really a great technical trader and so forth. But as a young kid, I think he's going to come out of this on top. I really do, because he's learned a huge lesson. And it was basically, they lost control of their money management, and that can happen to anyone. And that's why I emphasize it so much, guys. It's so, so important. And it's really unfair that they used him. I think that, initially they kind of made a statement when they came out and kind of blamed the exchange, but it's a money management issue. And the reason I kind of want to address this is we all need to I think that, if I was on here, my name was on here, if they call me to testify, my testimony is going to be exculpatory. It's going to be nothing but help Bitmex, because everything they did was, as soon as they found out I was a U.S. citizen, they shut me down. That was it. The only reason, and I don't trade on Bitmex, but my wife is Mexican. We live in Mexico. If she travels to the U.S., we can't trade. we don't even access the thing. You can't do it. Actually, we were able to through the Mexican phone, but you can't, that's their rules, guys, and they do enforce them. And so it's not like it's real. I mean, it's a real thing. And so they're talking about the March 13th crash. And this is where the hedge fund got blown out. And that's not unusual. You're going to see that in the legacy markets, guys. And I predict it. I think another one who's very concerned about it is Preston Fish. you haven't seen it yet. Right now, you haven't seen like what happened in 1973 or other markets, or the hunt squeeze, when things just go crazy. It breaks down and doesn't work, guys. And I don't care how big a system, how efficient it is, how many computers you have. You're not built for the black swan. It's not big enough. That's why it's a black swan. And, and that's what happens in these kind of a markets. This was an unusual market on COVID. The market did break and there was just unbelievable panic. But I was on the other side of the trade, guys. I got blown out too, and you all know it. You see my track record. You saw, I bought Bitcoin when it was a little over 5,000 and got blown out at 4,700. But I was able to step back in because I was wrecked but not ruined. I was able to step into June futures under $3,900. And from then on up, I've been able to take out, so far I've taken out 29 Bitcoin this year, and I just started with 0.6. So it's not a question of it's not a question of, it's a question of money management. If you're blaming the exchange, in other words, what this says is these guys are losing traders. And so they're going after the exchange thinking that they can somehow get it back. And unfortunately, Arthur Hayes has lots of enemies here. I can't find but there's another blurb in here about what happened there. And they quote, I think it's Adaptive Capital, their statement. But what they're doing in this complaint is they're going through the news and arguing that that's evidence and that's fact, when of course it's not. I think they're going to have a number of problems on this case. First of all, is going to be jurisdiction. I just don't see that there's any jurisdiction at all. They don't even have a section in there that argues jurisdiction. So I think that's going to be the biggest one they're going to have to overcome. They're going to have a real big problem and say, well, who committed the fraud here? In order for them to open the account, they knew they knew all this stuff and opened an account anyway. And now they want to be sued because apparently they lost in their trading. And then they're trying to get a nexus by attaching all of their suppliers, which the suppliers don't trade on the exchange. If the suppliers traded on the exchange, then they would shut that account down too. So anyway, I don't know anything about Mt. Gox. I avoided that one. So that's and the OKEX situation. I really I'm not as familiar with that because it's, Chinese exchange. I don't know if they seize the private keys, if they have done their security right, that's not possible to do. And I think one thing that's going for Arthur Hayes here is that he is a very good player. And I think they did have one. I'm sure that they were watching, who was seizable, and that not all the principals were ever able to be arrested at the same time. They probably just exposed them at the most one or two at a time, because anytime they set foot in the U.S. or any extraditable country, then they could be arrested. And I think it is a very, very positive thing that Samuel Reed was able to make a bond and is out. It was a fight. They allowed him to post bond, which amazed me because it's so rare. Because basically the prosecutors always argue that you're either a danger to the community or a flight risk or both. And that's what happened to me,
They told me that.
Yeah.
No.
And so I mean, it's 1% ever get out, on that. And so that was just an amazing thing and it was done quickly with them. I mean, my bond hearing, I think I had 2 sessions that took weeks, and gosh, and it was,
Like a high,
yeah. And then
high amount.
people don't understand that we don't have, in a lot of states you do, but you don't have bail or bond anymore. Reasonable. It's been completely taken away via statute. And it's very, very sad. Once you get into, I mean, Joe, if you can read Joby Weeks, they're not letting him out. I think the only reason they let Samuel Reed out is because they realized, first of all, these guys, excuse me, they have very deep pockets. They know how to play the game. If they could have closed the website down, they would have already closed it down. But they've got enough servers around the world that if they shut down one, they're not going to miss it. And yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I had referrals too. I mean, it was a nice little side. It wasn't much, but I think in a year, I made almost a Bitcoin off of referrals. And I was one of Tom's referrals, and he would joke about it. Yeah, I can see you're trading because I got all this referrals coming in, off of it. I said, well, great, and so he was happy, and I was happy to help him out in that way. And it really put a dent in his cash flow when that happened. But there was Bitmex had no other choice, and this is all public information, or I wouldn't be talking about it. I mean, you can go back and all this stuff. This is what they're doing, is they're talking about all these people. They're talking about Bitmex and how to trade on it, how you can get around the KYC. But you know what? The people who should be prosecuted by the DOJ is not Bitmex, it's all you guys. You knew the law, you wanted to skirt it anyway. Okay, that's fine, but let's at least stand up for the guy. It's like I was locked up with a guy. Who was it? I can't remember his name, but he was from Grand Island, and he had the shrimp concession. He was a multi-millionaire, worth at least $10 million, I know. And he lived, really? Yeah, but he lived, and you could tell because he lived in a double wide. Now down in Grand Island, everybody lives in trailers, but he had a double wide. You know what a double wide trailer? No, that's like 2 trailers. That's okay. A double wide. He was a rich man because he lived in a double wide.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But basically what his business was, he was in the shrimp business, and he would buy everybody's shrimp, and he actually would guys, that he learned how to shrimp, became shrimpers. He would buy them a boat, and then they'd buy the boat from him. So he bought the boat. So they had a boat, and they would be working for him. And they had all these federal laws where, certain things that you can't, if you're going to get shrimp, you're going to get these other fish, but you can't get those other fish. So he'd buy them all, and the feds came and prosecuted him. He was a hero because he didn't let anybody go to jail for him but him. I did the same thing. When I went to prison, at least I was stand up because I didn't let anybody work for me. I said, no, it's all me. Nobody else had anything to do with it, And, so I was a kingpin. And so everybody loved the guy, In fact, that's where I learned, you know what a coon ass is? You know what a coon ass is? Okay. Anybody out there know what a coon ass is? Because he'd be telling these stories. He had this real strong Cajun accent, and this coon ass this, and this coon ass that. And I thought, it must be a racist. No, a coon ass is a white man, because a coon's ass is white. Anyway, but and that's acceptable language. Everybody knows down there knows what a coon ass is. So, anyway, that's why. So, yeah, I can't find this about, but I mean, basically, they're just picking up anything they can find, throwing shit against the wall and hoping it'll stick. None of this crap will stick. it's just not, it's not going to stick. And let me go. It says, yeah, I think I've covered it all. I mean, basically, they failed to state a claim for which relief can be granted. They don't mention any jurisdiction. It's really more of a frivolous hit piece. I hope they get hit with sanctions for, a frivolous case. They filed other ones that look on at least the prima facie frivolous. The evidence that they do present is actually, I think, exculpatory and not evidence of any criminal activity. And, they actually even go so far as to try and create a nexus because they do business with suppliers, in the U.S., which is not a nexus. I mean, they didn't say, oh, we found out you're a U.S. company. We're not going to use your web service anymore. We're not going to buy your software support anymore. No, it doesn't work that way. If those companies traded on their exchange, yes, I'd say, well, we can't. And of course, they would know those people, but nowhere in the complaint does it say these guys traded on their exchange. I mean, they go so far as this. I mean, come on, guys. This is not manipulation. This is the way markets work. I mean, they can be manipulated for the short term, but if you don't know that, then you shouldn't be trading it because, those of us who know how to trade take these things into account. And then they go into the insurance fund, which once again, what a great innovation that is. Guys, you just don't understand that before Bitmex and before they implemented these new technologies and techniques, you couldn't limit your risk. Yeah, the insurance fund is more expensive if you get wrecked and if you use a stop sometimes, but it depends upon, sometimes on stops, if you don't have a stop limit, you can get filled terribly bad. And that happens all the time. So, I rarely, we use stops, but I call them equity stops. We don't put price stops in. I don't never have a stop in the market, but I never have enough on the table that if I do get wrecked, it's going to affect my life one way or another. And that's the key here. And this is just nonsense because it's not to benefit manipulation. There are players. Look, if you want to read how to enter a market, just listen to Michael Saylor and how the time took months to set it up legally, and then to enter the market, they had to do all kinds of things, and they were going both ways. If you're entering a position of $250 million, you're not just going in buying, because you disguise it. You're buying and you're selling, and you're buying and you're selling, and you work your way into that market. And they did a brilliant job. They didn't move the market at all. In fact, they actually were able to purchase in a sideways to declining market. And that's what they did. So, at any rate, I still want to find out, because someday I'm hoping to have Murad on, because I really think a lot of the guy, I think he's going to come back. I think he's learned a wonderful lesson. I know it's not wonderful when you're going through it, but he'll look back and say, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me. I get what Ugly is talking about. You need to own it. And then once you own it and you don't blame anybody but yourself for your own screw ups, then you're ready to really go to the next level. And I think Murad and the guys, because I respected those guys a lot. I know that they screwed up once, but that's what money management does. You screw up money management once, and you can get completely ruined. And so that is your number one priority before everything else. So, well, I guess I'm done. I'm not going to go through any more, and that's it. If you want to we put the link for this thing. It is an interesting read. It's 80 pages. I wanted to find the page with Murad, but I just can't find it. So I'm hoping someday, I think that he's going to be coming out bigger and better than ever. He's just, there's those of us who've been around a while, it's just like me. I'm not on the shit coiners, guys. I'm against the shit coin. I'll expose you coming and going, but you know what? I understand the trap that you fell for. I'm not, I don't want you to be completely destroyed or devastated. I want you to learn from it. And, because that experience is going to be invaluable, in the years ahead, because hopefully you won't get fooled again. But a lot of people are just the opposite. They say, well, yeah, I made millions or billions by promoting this shit. So they're just going to promote more shit. And what we have to do is just expose those things for what they are. And that's how we're going to get it corrected. It's going to take time. All this stuff is, Bitcoin is it's simple, but it's not easy. I can't find it. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to cover it. I don't know if my presentation wasn't so good, but I just wanted to outline that this thing is completely phony, that this law firm is, I don't think any of the attorneys would even waste their time going through this, but I'm an old jailhouse attorney. And so, I mean, this is just an incredible document, and all it is a hit piece against Bitcoin. It's a hit piece against a lot of good people in Bitcoin, and and they've used that as some kind of justification for filing this thing. And I just want to let everyone know. I want to address. I still want to address, because Murad is one of my heroes. I really like the guy, and I want to see him fully restored, and it's going to happen. I know that's going to happen. So I don't know where it is. Look at all these guys. Look at all these guys, and you can actually link to these guys. And they have presentations about how to trade on Bitmex and how to get. They probably want to delete those videos they have that tell people how to to get around how to deceive Bitmex, on how to deceive Bitmex to thinking that you're not a U.S. citizen, because basically that's what you have to do. You have to, somewhere down the line, you have to tell them, and I don't know many people on here. I know a few, but the few that I know are all good people. And there it is. There's okay. No. Name like a bit in. Okay. Okay. These are U.S. companies trading on Bitmex. Well, we don't know that. We don't know what arrangement they have, so they're not U.S. So. Okay, well, that's it. I'm done. Do you think it's a good idea to diversify and store some BCT on exchanges in case of ledger robbery or my own computer hack? Anything that's on any exchange is at risk, guys. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Do you think that every exchange is at risk? I wrote an article. Let me pull that article. I think that you're living in a dream world if you don't think your IRAs and retirement funds are at risk. More than Bitmex, I think your traditional funds. Look, those retirement funds are the new gold. It's sit and duck confiscation. My recommendation is take it out, buy Bitcoin, pay the tax penalty, because it's coming. They're going to, somewhere along the line, they're going to seize everybody's retirement. They gave it to you, and they're going to take it away from you. It is the new gold. And everything that's on any exchange, in any regulated U.S. exchange, all you have to do is have some, FDR type of president come in and do one of their declarations and say, well, this is an executive order, and we're going to give everybody's retirement funds a 30% haircut or 80%. And that's the risk. And you know, you need to go through and read the three greatest swindles in history. And the first one, of course, is inflation, which Bitcoiners are aware of. The second one is Social Security, which is a Ponzi scheme. And the third one is the SEC, or regulation. And they regulate, say, oh, we're here to protect you, but they've protected no one. Who have they protected? All they do is maybe go after somebody after the fact. And once you're regulated, and once that information is all there and easily accessible, it's just a stroke of the pen, and they're going to say, well, you know, it'll be perfectly legal because it was an executive order, and it's for everybody. And I think that's where the real danger is. It's not going to be gold confiscation. You know, they're not going to, because gold's not centralized anymore, guys. People that own gold, for the most part, they have physical possession and it's there, but it may not have a lot, and silver is the same way. But your retirement programs, it's just sitting duck. I wrote an article about it. Which one is it? Let me go find it. Let me stop share. And let me go find it. And okay. It was the it was the first article on Bitmex. Okay, let's go. Medium. Okay, stories. Okay, guys, you need to go to managing exchange risk in the coming Bitcoin war. Here it is. How do I share screen now? Here?
Yeah, there you
go. Okay.
Oh, there you go. And the Chrome icon there?
Okay.
And then share.
Okay. Go.
Share.
This.
Oh, there, the blue icon.
What? Oh, this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So this is on Medium. I don't know if it's posted on our website yet. It should be. But and this is what I said. This is what really I think people need to be concerned of. People are afraid to address, but hey, we got to address it. And I call it managing exchange risk in the coming Bitcoin war. And I think the criminal indictment against the Bitmex executives, it's the opening salvo of the undeclared war on Bitcoin. If it's not the opening salvo, it's at least a shot across the bow that everybody should wake up and pay attention to. And again, I was expecting the CFTC action. I think a lot of people were. I was shocked by the criminal indictment, and I'm glad that only one could be had. I'm glad that they're out on bail. I think that's very positive. I really do think that this. I do think that this is even on the par with and perhaps greater than Assange and what's his name? Anyway, what's this guy's name? Anyway, and so I kind of put it in that category, even more so, and because because here it is. Snowden, because Snowden's in there for surveillance crimes, quote, surveillance. The crime was being done by our government, but he's now the criminal because he exposed it. Julian Assange now is being prosecuted because he exposed war crimes. We haven't taken any of the war criminals and put them in jail. We haven't put any of the surveillance criminals and brought charges against them. Okay. And now this is really this is a property crime. But Bitmex hasn't taken anybody's property. And so this is even in my sense, it's a bigger one because it affects really everybody. It hits home. It's actually bigger. It's just not, it's just, you know, it's for the people that have and not for the have-nots. And so there's only people that understand wealth and how it's acquired, and it's not easy. Then they have an interest to it. Anybody that's a producer is very vulnerable right now. And if you have any assets, you're very vulnerable right now. And like I went here, you know, if you have any funds on any exchange, you're sitting ducks for that asset confiscation. And that's including, but not limited to Bitcoin. So you have your Bitcoin on an exchange, yeah, it's confiscatable. But so is your retirement program. So is any stocks you own. So is your bank account with cash in it. Look, if they can just direct deposit $1,200 in your account next month, what's to say 3 months from now, well, we're going to just direct deposit and take 5,000 out of everybody's account, or just give everybody a haircut for 30%. I mean, what's wrong with this picture, guys? And we're all going for it. Everybody, we're all socialists now. I mean, everybody, are you going to turn down the money that's given to you? We should, but we're not. That's the dilemma. And we are in a moral quagmire right now with ourselves. You know, the conservatives, physical conservatives, have no leg to stand on. I mean, basic assured income, or no, would have been laughed at a year ago. To give everybody $1,000 now, let's give them $2,000 every month. Come on, guys, you got to wake up. What's going on here? So, you know, I really consider what's going on here with Bitmex, that Arthur Hayes and the boys, they are the tip of the spear. We got to back them up. Now, the best way, they don't need your money. Okay, they don't need your expertise, because they're pretty damn good players. Okay, but they do deserve your moral support. They don't deserve you jumping on the condemnation bandwagon. Yet they need to be defended morally. And you also need to protect yourself. That's the other way you can help yourself. Don't follow their example, and don't get yourself to the point where you have so much at risk that it can be taken away and you're suddenly destitute, because that's where we're going. Okay. And, you know, so that's my question is, are we competent? Do we have the balls to support these guys from the Bitcoin home front? I hope we do. I do hope. I support them, and you know, but what do I got? I'm only around here for a little while longer anyway. Okay. Yeah, storing your keys is a risk, and so you store them different ways. You know, don't have it all on you know, one system, and that's another whole thing. Bitcoin's not easy, guys. It's not, but it's the way of the future. So, okay, well, I'm done, and I just wanted to make this little short video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll go from there. All right. Bye-bye. How do I end this? Stop share. All right.
And at the bottom.
End at the bottom. So long, guys. Hodl, 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 save, 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 build a sound money. And I got a lot to do today, and I'm going to get this book out, guys. It's not easy, you know, and I got so much on my plate, but I do want to get this thing written. I got to, because I know that it's important to get it out there. I know that what I teach is completely different from what most of what's out there. There's a few that and people show, hey, you're teaching this. Yeah, that's right. And so if you want to learn how to trade successfully, I can teach you to do it. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is publishing all their trades.
I was just about to tell you that.
Huh?
I was about to just mention that nobody publishes their trades.
Yeah, and you know, what do I have to lose? You know, I'm going to show you I can do it. It's consistent. It's not easy, but it's not hard. It's just you gotta think different than you're thinking.
Money management.
It's money management. It's that simple. It's so easy to understand and so difficult to truly grasp. So we'll see you guys. Bye.